Hello there guys, it's Captain Invisible here and welcome to a Medieval 2 Total War online commentary battle. It's been a while since I've done a commentary battle, and it's certainly been a while since I've done a siege battle, so we will, I've got one special one here to show you, and just check out this castle. It's an Eastern European, an Eastern European, basically, Middle East fortress, and it's got this really nice courtyard out here that I always love. Both defending and attacking, this fortress is really nice. I really do enjoy this fortress. It's just a different setup to the ones that you normally see in the Western European style fortresses. And this one does kick off quite fast, so I'm just going to keep it paused here whilst I go over the army compositions. So I am in command of Sicily, and I've brought a total of 6 units of the dismounted Norman Knights. I've got 2 outside here ready to defend the outside of the walls, and then 4 more inside in the town centre. I've got 4 units of the sword and buckler men, and these guys are fully kitted out as well as the dismounted Norman Knights. I had a lot of money to spare, so I could just kit out my entire army, fully upgraded, with all the best equipment. I've got 2 units of pike militia, again fully kitted out in their plate armour. It makes them look really, really nice and shiny. I've got 2 units of Norman Knights, a very sweet cavalry, ready to do some strikes as and when they can. I've got a total of 3 units of Muslim archers, and I've got some out here just to support the outside of the walls, and then the rest are on the walls in strategic positions. And 2 units of the Pavis crossbowmen. Again, 1 outside the walls to harass, and then the rest are positioned on the walls somewhere. There's 1 there. And then I brought a mortar unit as well, just to do some long range striking as and where I need it. I'm not great with mortars, so I didn't expect too much from it, but at the same time, it's quite a useful artillery piece to have if you can bring them. And my ally is Nazebaze, a fellow hot seat campaign player and YouTube commentator. I don't know whether he plays a lot online, and I don't know whether he plays a lot of sieges online. He certainly said it was one of his first major sieges online, so he's brought quite a nice army, to be honest, for a siege. He's got 4 units of these dismounted men at arms, again fully kitted out in their nice Milanese style plate armour. Then he's got, I think, 5 units of dismounted feudal knights. Yeah, and it looks like he's got some more dismounted men at arms, 3 more dismounted men at arms, so a total of 7 units of dismounted men at arms and 5 units of the dismounted feudal knights, 3 units of pike militia, and he's got a lot of these Genoese crossbowmen. I'm going to say he's got about 4 or 5 of them. Yeah, about 5 Genoese crossbowmen. Okay, so that's the defending forces. It's just me and Nazebaze defending this fortress. We shall go to the attackers. So, playing as Venice, we've got paladinbob, and he's brought quite a nice Venetian army. Given the funds, it's a very nice army. Pushing these 3 siege towers, he's got 3 units of peasants. You should always bring the peasants to carry your siege equipment. They are really, really expendable. And then for missiles, he's got 2 units of Venetian archers and 2 units of Pavis crossbow militia. So very strong missile force there. Given his lack of funds, I think it's a good a good amount of missiles. Then he's got a cover in here, taking aim at the walls, and then a unit of mortars, again, for long-range striking. For infantry, he's got 3 units of feudal knights, and I don't think they've got upgrades, so they might just be standard. Oh, in fact, this one's got defense upgrades. I'm not sure about attack upgrades, though. I don't know what the difference is between the attacked upgraded ones. Then he's got 3 units of dismounted men-at-arms. Oh no, so he's got another feudal knight. So 4 feudal knights and 2 dismounted men-at-arms. But these men-at-arms don't have any upgrades, I don't think. And then he's got 4 units of the Venetian heavy infantry in their nice shiny plate armour and their massive shields and warhammers. They probably have upgrades. They've certainly got chevron upgrades on this one, and this is his general as well. So very strong infantry force there. Then he's just got a general's bodyguard, cavalry just to protect his army. And that is the Venetian force. So we shall jump over to the Scottish, being played by Lord Tsunami. So Tsunami has been upgraded from erupting to Lord. So I would certainly want to be a Lord as opposed to erupting. God knows how that feels. So for artillery, he's got a culverin and a trebuchet. Pretty nice bringing the trebuchet. I don't see a lot of them, but Scotland does have advantage. Does have the option to bring the mortar, should I say? So he may be best with one of those, but funds, can affect these types of things. Looks like he has probably 4 units of the noble swordsmen, and they are very noble in their shiny plate armour. They don't have the armour upgrades, but they've still got quite nice armour on them. Then he's got, I think, 3 units of the dismounted feudal knights, bog standard, your average, your run-of-the-mill infantry, great at just about everything. The jack of all trades and the masters of none. Then he's got a unit of Highland nobles, looking very sweet with their gigantic swords over here, although looks like some of them decided not to bring swords. They're just trying to use their fists to beat down some Sicilian and Milanese troops. Then he's got 2 units of the Highlanders, and it looks like 2 units of noble pikemen and a Highland pikeman. Always nice to see pikemen from Scotland. They've got some really nice pike options. Really cheap, from the really cheap to the really heavily armoured. And then he's got 3 units of noble Highland archers, a Knights Hospitaller. It's a Hospitaller, isn't it? Yep. And a general's bodyguard with his general in it. So that's the Scottish force, deployed in a nice sort of V-shaped formation, ready to anticipate any cavalry action. And then we've got the Moors being played by the SwedishlandsKnekt, always a great player online, and he's bringing a very, very strong Moorish force to this battle. So he's got a unit of peasants up front, with 2 units of grand bombards as his artillery. The bombards are not as accurate as the culverins and the cannons, but I think they are slightly cheap. They are cheaper. I forget how much they cost, but obviously you're gonna get a cheaper cannon for what they are. But they are very noticeably inaccurate compared to the others. But as I say, you're bringing 2 of them, you're gonna tear down the walls just as easily. Then he's got 3 units of desert archers, an Arab cavalry on this flank, protecting them. And then check this out, he's got about 8 units of urban militia. 8 units of urban militia and 4 units of the dismounted Christian Guard. To be honest, I forgot completely about the Moors until about halfway through the battle, and then I looked over and I saw these 8 units of urban militia, and I had to count them like 5 times because I did not believe that he could have brought 8 units of these guys, and he's upgraded their defense to give them the nice armor as well. So this infantry force here is going to be a pain in the ass in this battle. Even without knowing the outcome, you can tell it's just gonna. There's just so many bodies there. It's gonna be quite hard to really stop that flood of infantry. So that's the armies. Let's get straight into this on normal speed. And as you can see, Bob's already pushing up some siege towers. Very aggressive move here by paladinbob. He's just looking to get them in place so his infantry has somewhere to scale. And whilst his siege towers are moving up, he's also pelting the walls with his covering. And he's looking to open up this spot here. I was talking to Bob after the battle, and he was giving me some inside information about his thinking of this battle, and he said that opening this part of the wall up does force people to move into the settlement, because the fear of flanking from this position is so great, and it is a nice place to open up first, because it gives you that option that if someone does then defend this place, you've got that option to flank. So it's a very nice place to open up first, and he did it, as I said, to force the issue with the whole flanking manoeuvre.
The walls have fallen. Steel and valiant hearts must be our walls now.
I think the others are just opening up some of the gaps as well. You've got this part of the wall falling on this side, and I think the SwedishlandsKnekt is the one that opens up the walls the quickest. He's really aggressive when it comes to entering the settlement, so we'll see what he does. Right now, though, in opening this part of the wall, paladinbob's given me the chance to send my cavalry out. And I've sent my cavalry out to stop these siege towers so that my own towers have time to fire at some of the units. Unfortunately, trying to pull through these peasants has cost my cavalry dearly. And I mean, I've managed to stop the towers, but the losses I've experienced in doing so is just too great. I really wish I hadn't tried to pull through the peasants. I didn't realise that they were going to then rip my cavalry to shreds. It was quite a painful move on my part, but it's a tactic. As I say, I was hoping to stop these towers at least for a second whilst my own towers started to fire. So yeah, it was a brave move, but again a mistake on my part. And now the towers are committing to the walls, and the peasants will be retreating from this section to allow some heavy infantry to take their place. This one seems to be stuck. I don't quite know what these peasants are doing. It looks like they're turning it really slowly in the sand. It looks like the siege tower's getting really stuck in the sand, but they're pushing it up now. And I do send some of my Norman knights up the wall because I thought that he would then just send infantry straight up, but the peasants apparently are not going to enter the wall. I thought that if they would go straight for the crossbowmen, but my Norman knights look like they send them off. These Norman knights are going to come up onto the wall to stop whatever infantry is going to come up from these two, and my supporting units stand ready to receive any units from through this gap. Obviously, I was aware that this gap was here, and I really didn't want to be outflanked. But again, the cavalry is going to go out again to see what damage we can do. I immediately see this feudal knight trying to go for the siege tower, and I want to stop it in its tracks. A nice cavalry charge should weaken the unit some.
God save us! The enemy have the walls.
So a pretty decent strike there, but now my cavalry unit is trapped. But it allows this cavalry unit, my second unit, to go straight for this undefended blob of infantry, whilst his cavalry is too busy engaged with my other unit. And Bob even told me after the battle that he really didn't expect this, and I really wouldn't be surprised, because with 2 cavalry units I can afford to send one to distract the enemy cav, and then use my other one to run strikes. And it wasn't the best of strikes. I think it got some Venetian heavy infantry and got some of the cannon crew, but not a lot of them. I'm going to try look for more opportunities to strike. I think this one's a lot better because the Venetians were moving, and there was a nice flank charge on them. So we've managed to weaken a Venetian heavy infantry down to 22 men. It's the kind of opportunity I was looking for, and certainly taking the Venetian heavy infantry out is an important task for my cavalry. And I seem to be losing my music. Let me, there we are. So I have this problem where my music seems to fade out, and it kind of fades out and then it stops altogether. It's very, very frustrating. It really takes away from the atmosphere. So, so it looks like my towers have finally set this siege tower on fire. So these feudal knights are not going to be able to get onto the walls this time. But we've still got these other 2 to worry about, and there are a lot of troops trying to climb these 2. Some men-at-arms up this one, and some archers up the second one. Scotland have already made it inside. Obviously they took out the gate and were able to just completely enter without any trouble. And as you can see, the Moors have just set up their huge infantry line. Again, without trouble, without hassle from the defenders. We had to focus on one side, and to be honest, this side is a lot easier to defend purely because it's nearest to the fortress gate. So yes, I tried to focus on paladinbob as much as possible and hope that the SwedishlandsKnekt didn't come down this way to engage me. I had infantry here just to block if need be, but yeah, it was a scary moment having the Moors on that flank. So my Muslim archers have moved up, and they're going to take aim at these men-at-arms that are coming out of the siege tower. And I've got my my dismounted Norman knights coming up to meet them. I'm going to have a nice scrap on the walls with archer support and the towers. Let's see if I can get a good angle. It's always really difficult to get decent angles on the walls. There we are. So the Norman knights are cutting through these men-at-arms. They're going to do very well against these types of troops. The men-at-arms are good, cheap infantry, but against fully kitted out Norman knights, they're not going to really stand much of a chance. And the archer fire coming in is going to weaken some of the men at the back as well. Plus it's on their unshielded side. It's little things that I noticed, but yeah, the unshielded side of the men-at-arms are getting hit by the archers, and that's going to do even more damage. Fortunately though, they are heavily armoured, so they've got that going for them. They're not going to get killed very easily by the arrows. So currently pushing through the men-at-arms, more infantry pouring onto the walls, and we've got some Scottish cavalry over at this side as well, just to watch over this gap and watch over any cavalry strikes that are going to come out. My own cavalry is going to harass these archers and enemy cavalry units. We need to get rid of these archers and push them away whilst they're firing at my infantry, and just to take out this enemy cav as well. Some more fighting on the walls. Again, my archers just peppering the men on the walls, and I think I seem to have my mortar targeting this section, and you'll see in a minute why. It's quite hilarious when it happens, but yeah, I'm sending some mortar fire in this way. You can see them hitting kind of hitting the wall here. I wasn't trying to aim for the wall, actually. I was aiming for something else. But as I say, it's quite inaccurate. It's quite accurate, but it's not the most accurate weapon. There we are. So that was one. That was my mortar targeting the siege tower, and it seems to have broken these units because they now realise that they can't get down. And then the second hit was targeting this siege tower, and this one has some poor men in it, and it's going to suffer quite a few losses if these archers are going to stay in here. Oh, in fact, before I do watch that tower go down, I noticed that it was peppering the wall here, and I didn't notice until well, it was at 46%. So I'm trying to run my men off the wall now, and you can see his cannon fire, and it's just going to catch these last few men in the run, and these poor sort of 5 units of dismounted Norman knights are going to get caught on the wall. So yeah, it was a bit of a late notice there by me, and I lose a good handful of these Norman knights.
Walls have fallen. Steel and valiant hearts must be our walls now.
Still, it was a little funny moment where I was trying to run them, and then just the wall just exploded underneath them. Very fun. I seem to be still hitting this wall. I'm not sure why. I think it's just the inaccuracy of the weapon, the mortar. Oh god, lag. There we are.
Now, beware lest they try some other trick.
God, there's so much lag now. I think it's yeah, I think there's just a lot going on now. There's a lot of troops now on the battlefield in the fortress. But that's a good portion of his missiles taken out right there on that siege tower. There's just a few more Pavis crossbowmen I have to worry about, and to be honest, it's looking good for me on this side. I have to admit, I've lost maybe a handful of these Norman knights and some other units. I've still got some defensive units here to ward off the cavalry strikes, and my archers are still looking to pepper the enemy. So we do have an Arab cav charge here. To be honest, I probably didn't notice this until it was too late, but we do have archer fire coming in and crossbowmen, and it just breaks these Arab cav. So they only got a decent strike off, but the rest was a loss for them. So I just want to show you this, because this looks awesome. the destroyed siege towers, the crumbling wall, the sort of the dead Venetians over here, and that was a heartbreaking sort of thing to happen. It looks like the SwedishlandsKnekt is using its cannons, which are, I think, all the way, oops, on the side, which are all the way over here. These cannons here to pelt down the walls. They fired one, and it's obviously come over here. It's obviously missed the tower, or missed the section of wall, and it's just raked all the way across here. And unfortunately, that's exactly where the Milanese general was standing, and he's just got obliterated by the cannon fire. We would not. Well, he was definitely not happy about that. There he is, poor Milanese general. He was definitely not happy about that, and I mean, I thought it was funny. I mean, just the distance of the cannons to the general was just so immense, and yet he still got targeted by an artillery shot. It just goes to show that these generals do have giant magnets on them, sort of artillery magnets. Really, really poor do for Nazebaze there. So I've still got some defensive infantry outside, still looking to hold the outside from the Venetians and the Scottish. We've got some Scottish Highlanders now coming in to do some damage. And I think at this point my Muslim archers have run out of ammo, so they are going to be semi-melee units. They do have pretty nice melee stats actually. I think their attack is somewhere like 11 and their defense is 12, so they've got pretty decent stats. So a handful of my Norman Knights are going to hold off these Highlanders. There's only 27 of them now, and you're with 75 Highlanders bearing down on them. I think these Norman Knights are not going to do too well in this kind of fight, but we do have some archer fire coming in, and it is really taking its toll on these lightly armoured Highlanders. It looks like we're going to see some feudal knights come out to play from paladinbob as well. Some fancy foot knights. Unfortunately, they are going to be in the crosshairs of my Pavis crossbowmen, who came off the walls just to fire down this lane, and this lane is just so brutal for the attackers to march down. It is one of the reasons why I positioned myself on this side with some units up here to defend this area. I was able to hold this little channel, and you can see the amount of fire coming in is really taking its toll on these Venetian troops. With more reinforcements ready to aid against the Highlanders, I should be able to beat them back with relative ease. Some more dismounted Norman Knights. I'm holding my my sword and buckler men in reserve at the back here.
Valiant hearts must be our walls now.
They're just watching the flanks of my Norman Knights just to make sure that they don't get outflanked. That would be a terrible situation for them. Some more feudal knights coming down this channel. Just look at the spatter of bodies from the Pavis crossbow fire. And then my cavalry as well. I swung them around this side. There's only 5 of them, but they managed to break these units in anticipation of the the oncoming Venetian troops. Looks like another strike from these Arab cavalry, but they're already shaken, and they do get quite a nice charge off on the Pavis crossbowmen actually, but they're again not going to be able to take the pressure of the surrounding troops. It's one of the great things about this corner as well, because by the time they get up to this point, you've got troops here, you've got troops on this side. It kind of makes them feel surrounded, and it's going to break them with relative ease. Some more Venetians coming up. I think this is a full-on attack by Venice, and with some Scottish support as well.
Walls have fallen. Steel and valiant hearts must be our walls now.
Yep, that's I think Bob's still taking down the walls, or at least someone's still taking down the walls. We're going to meet these feudal knights in combat with our Norman knights, and our Norman knights have the nice shiny plate armor, or the partial plate armor, so they should do quite well against these Venetian troops. But instead of following up, the Highland nobles are going around to flank my position, and to be honest, I don't know what I was thinking. I saw it happen, and I was like, ooh, they're outflanking, and I knew they were outflanking, and they didn't do anything about it sooner. Yeah, I should have started marching my forces now. You know, I should have been bringing these guys down, or these guys down, to block this side. But instead I kind of saw it happen. It wasn't until about now that I saw them coming out of here, and I was like, oh, you know, I'm going to have to send a troop to stop them. But, you know, the distance between them and the nobles can swing around here faster than I could probably come down to intercept them. So it was it was a bit of a mistake on my part, just watching these Highland nobles just like march basically behind my army before doing anything about them. But this grind is still going on, really epic grind, and these Highland nobles, you can see them popping out here. My sword and buckler men do manage to catch a few of them, but I'll have to turn the unit around to actually engage these Highland nobles to stop them from properly outflanking my troops. And I think being surrounded by sword and buckler men and these Norman knights should help break these Highland nobles. But yeah, it was a very good move by Tsunami actually, and it completely caught me off guard. I just didn't know what to do about it. So yeah, good, nice little move there. The support from our towers is really helping to weaken these Venetian troops, tiring them out and really putting the pressure on.
Walls have fallen. Steel and valiant hearts must be our walls now.
There's a lot of fighting here, and it's so far going to my superior swordsman, and able to hold off all these Venetian troops. As of yet, I don't think he's sent in the Venetian heavy infantry. I think he's holding those guys in reserve out here. He's got these 3 full units and that 1 unit of weakened Venetian heavy infantry somewhere. I think out here. Yeah, just here. Maybe looking to send those guys in. But it's at this point I think that my own infantry is very weakened, down by quite a few men, and yeah, I've got these reserves here, but it's at this point I start thinking that maybe we should retreat back into the town centre. You know, my infantry's done its job, it's weakened the Venetians, it's tired them out, but as you can see, there's just too many Venetians now coming in. This general's bodyguard, these Venetian heavy infantry, and I need to start pulling back. So I've got these 3 units of sword and buckler men going back into the second layer of fortress walls, and in a minute I do start to move the crossbow men off the walls as well. And seeing all these troops over here, I didn't want to then be cut off from retreating back by the Moorish. So it was a good. I think it was the right time to retreat. I still had a lot of fighting to do, and these Norman Knights still fight on. But these Venetian heavy infantry are something to be feared, and they just start ripping through my sword and buckler men, and a nice cavalry charge does break these infantry units, unfortunately. So I finally lost this side, and my crossbow men didn't manage to get out of the walls quick enough, unfortunately, and get caught by the general's bodyguard of paladinbob. But we've managed to, I mean, we've created a lot of death here, a lot of Venetian dead, so there's that to going forward, and these attack on the walls as well was going my way. A lot of dead men at arms, and the dead outside the walls from the cavalry and the towers. It was definitely a surprise. I didn't expect paladinbob to attack so quickly, especially with the towers still intact. But I knew that the SwedishlandsKnekt would definitely take his time taking down the towers on this side. Definitely a more cautious and calculating player to take out the walls first. Definitely a good idea to do all that. So at the moment, I think it's just a case of archery fire coming in and just general missile exchanges. So what I'll do is I shall make a cut here, because there's definitely not a lot going to happen within the next, I think it's about 10-20 minutes or so, and I'm not going to force you to look through that. All that happens is, as I say, I get some archer fire down over here, and some artillery fire comes in and is sent into our town centre from the Venetian mortar and things, and obviously my own mortar's firing, but nothing as epic as what happened over here. So what I'll do is I'll make a cut and I shall jump to something a little bit more exciting, so I'll see you in a bit. Okay, welcome back guys. So we see, as you can see, the enemy has set up this missile line here. They want to pick apart our inside troops, and they've done quite a lot with the artillery already. Just little bits, little piles of dead Milanese and Sicilian forces. But I really don't want to make the enemy feel this comfortable firing at us with archers. So I send out my own depleted units of Muslim archers and some sword and buckler men to really harass the enemy, take on these urban militia, and really draw some attention this way, because I don't want them to just set up and just fire at us in their own leisure. I need to make them feel pressured, make them feel distracted, and forcing that issue, I'll send out a unit of sword and buckler men, and then as I say, my pike militia. I think I'm going to send some more troops out in a little bit, some more of these sword and buckler men. But it's just a case of making the enemy really feel that is not actually that safe, not that comfortable. There's always going to be the issue of troops really getting into your face and really making you feel a little making you feel distracted. These Muslim archers have pushed back the enemy archers, beaten back these units and really taking on the other units with their swords. As I say, Muslim archers are pretty good in melee, very decent archer units. But as I say, it's all a case of just making the enemy feel distracted, not as comfortable as he should otherwise. So yeah, some more units of Muslim archers coming there to support. Sword and buckler men still fighting off these urban militia. And then, as I say, in a short while, I start sending these sword and buckler men to assist. And it's all, as I say, just to make the enemy feel like they have to commit troops this way, really make them focus their attention somewhere else other than this nice pretty missile line they had going on. And as you can see, it has forced back the archers, maybe not into as good positions as they would have wanted. But I am still losing troops. These poor sword and buckler men got charged by cavalry and really suffered some damage. These sword and buckler men do get quite a nice charge off against these urban militia, so we're going to see them really hacking into these urban militia troops. But Bob's quick to send some support from these dismounted feudal knights, and the archer fire can now come in from these archers on my exposed infantry. So it was a risky move, and it certainly was one that, you know, I could have probably done without doing, but at the same time it's really there just to distract the enemy and really throw them off balance, and we do manage to rout some peasants and weaken and tire out some of these urban militia and really get these feudal knights off guard in the flank. And they're wavering, so they're probably going to rout in a second. But yeah, you're definitely weakening these urban militia and really sort of catching them off guard. Yeah, these feudal knights rout. Yeah, it's just all about tiring troops out. The Scottish cavalry comes in, but against foot troops, they're not going to be that good in melee, and they start to really feel the pressure as soon as the pikes come out to play. You know, pike men are certainly not something you want to face in melee with cavalry, and it's just a case of using the pikemen just to keep the enemy cavalry from charging my infantry units whilst they go to work against these urban militia. As I say, there is the risk of the enemy archers getting fire on us, and it was an issue in the fight out here. But again, it's a risky move that had to be done. I had to try and make the enemy feel a little uncomfortable. Otherwise, they would have just had the upper hand. The pikes are now in position, so we can definitely take out some of these cavalry units. But there is going to be some more feudal knights and even more urban militia coming in to try and salvage this flank. And as I say, just drawing troops into this spot here. Had we had archers on the walls, it would have been a lot better. But unfortunately, my archers ran out of ammo, and I think Nazebaze's may have as well. Yeah, generally his crossbow men are just stuck up here with urban militia bearing down on them on the walls. So yeah, I'm losing these. I am losing these sword and buckler men, and I think that is the last of my sword and buckler men. All I have left is these 4 units of Norman knights that are moved out of the range of the artillery just to avoid any unnecessary casualties. Fortunately though, Nazebaze still has a lot of his infantry units, and they are in good health, and not tired or wounded or anything. So he did really well preserving his troops, whereas I planned an attack here, and then I sort of drew back, and then I launched an attack here. So I was all over the place attacking, whereas Nazebaze was certainly the more sound-headed of the two of us. Yeah, I was there to create chaos, and he was there to keep order in our own ranks. And he certainly did a good job of that. I mean, you know, as I said, the artillery's coming in and it's hitting blobs of troops like this, but you know, for the most part, he's managed to keep a lot of his men intact and out of the way, and it's going to definitely help once the hard fighting starts. But by this point, I've almost completely run out of troops. Just a few scattering of weakened missile units that have run out of ammo, and I say these 4 units of Norman Knights. So in terms of defense, we're going to rely on Nazebaze's forces, but in terms of actually attacking the enemy, this is all that paladinbob has left. These peasants, and it does still have his Venetian heavy infantry left, but as far as the feudal knights and men-at-arms are concerned, he really doesn't have a lot of them left. The Scots do have quite a lot left as well. Some pikemen, still has the artillery. He still has all these noble swordsmen, feudal knights. So he does have a lot of his heavier infantry. He lost his Highlanders and his noble swordsmen, noble Highland nobles earlier, but he does have a lot of these heavy swordsmen. And as I say, it's just a case of weakening the SwedishlandsKnekt's forces now, because you know, all these urban militia are just going to really cause havoc. And even now, with these ladders up here, it could easily outflank our forces from here and really block off this section, you know, stopping our units from retreating to the town centre and really just making it difficult for us. So it's what he's doing now, sending some urban militia up this side, and he's still got some reinforcements over here that he could easily send up to assist them. So it was looking pretty dire at this point. I'd lost a good half of my force. In fact, you can see these statistics. Percentage of allies killed 44, percentage of enemies killed 43, so it is pretty dead even. You're managing to weaken paladinbob and a couple of Lord Tsunami's forces definitely helped, but unfortunately it's been a pretty hard fight for me, and a lot of my forces are now defeated. But as I say, Nazebaze still has a lot of his fresh troops, and they're going to become very critical in the later fights of this battle. We need fresh troops to be able to hold off certainly the Moorish horde, all those urban militia, which are now making their way along the wall to the Genoese crossbowmen. Now the good thing about these Genoese crossbowmen, especially with the money we were given, is that they are fully kitted out, and I mean just completely and utterly fully kitted out with chevrons and armour and attack upgrades and just the works, and these urban militia are going to really underestimate these Genoese crossbowmen. You're in full health, slightly winded. They are going to really put pay to these urban militia who are who are unfortunately sort of very tired and shaken already. I mean, he's got his general here to help keep the morale in check, but they are not in a good position. So it looks like these Scots are trying to push in as well with one of their units of noble swordsmen. And the noble swordsmen are pretty strong units. They'll certainly contend with the men-at-arms and the pikemen. The pikemen were being a bit glitchy in this section of the wall, and we're really not putting the pikes down to face these Scots. But you know, the Scots were pushing through quite hard, and it's a shame that there wasn't more units in here just to pile on the pressure. I mean, it looks like they're coming in now, but it was they could have done with launching this attack sooner and really getting into getting in here to fight us sooner. I'm gonna charge out to meet these urban militia. Again, more urban militia. I said there was 8 units of them, so I was really sort of really surprised that he managed to afford 8 units because of the price increase. In any case, these Christian guards here that are going to push in through these pikemen. I'm trying to send any support that I've got left, some spatterings of units. But I didn't want to really neglect this side, sending some more Norman Knights forward. And I've got these Pavis crossbowmen going up to outflank these urban militia. I noticed they were really tired and wavering, and this section of the wall, it's great until you get trapped here, and then with my Pavis crossbowmen I should be able to outflank them and really do some damage. And if these Christian Guard do come up this wall, I've got some reserved units of Norman Knights ready to receive them. So I'm just going to leave my Norman Knights sort of in this section as reserves. I'm not sure where the enemy's going to be strongest pushing through. It looks like they've actually broken through here, and I think certainly I notice it quite quickly. He's got this one unit of feudal knights holding them off, but I need to get some more of my own forces in there to help defeat that. We've got some Venetian heavy infantry here trying to come in, so we need to send some support over there. So my Norman Knights are going to plug that gap, plug this gap, and hopefully we can stop this just tide of Scottish and Moorish forces. As you can see, the flank from the crossbowmen did work quite well, and we've managed to rout all these urban militia. Thanks in no small part to the Genoese crossbowmen who have hacked through the urban militia at the front. And now these Christian Guards are going to come up to try and defeat the Pavis crossbowmen and Genoese crossbowmen on the walls. The Venetians is trying to push in, but at this point they're all tired, and it's going to really affect the morale. The Venetian heavy infantry are good until they get tired and the morale suffers, because they really don't have the best of morale. You really need to keep them in check and keep them in good numbers and with good stamina. So we're pushing through these urban militia here. There might be some Christian Guard here to support, which is going to be tough. The Christian Guard are probably, other than the Venetian heavy infantry, they are one of the best units on the battlefield at the moment, so they're going to really be a struggle to defeat. Some dismounted Christian Guards pulling out of this section as the Scots are already fully committed into it. And down here you've got the Scots really pushing in. This section was really waning. The pikemen just couldn't hold it for too long, and then there's a unit of men-at-arms that are getting chewed up by these noble swordsmen. As you can see, they are just pushing right the way in here. We needed to seriously plug up this gap because the force of the simple mass of the Scottish forces here is pushing into our defences, and there's this little gap opening up that needs dealing with.
We are blessed. The enemy general is dead. We have sent the idiot to...
Fortunately, at the gate, the Venetian general has died. His forces have lost momentum, and now his troops are going to start retreating. If we can push past the Venetians here, we could actually outflank these Christian Guard. So it was just a case of really forcing our way in and really taking advantage of the the Venetians' lack of morale.
They have lost half their men.
And I've lost the music again. There we are. So I've got my own troops. We're fighting in this gap, but there's already a ton of troops in this gap. So in a minute I'm going to pull them back outside of the gap and use them as reserves. The Scots are still really pushing in here. They've opened up a nice little gap here, and there's only a handful of these men-at-arms defending this side. I think in a second I do throw some Muslim archers in just to help block the gap. It's really becoming very hard to defend against such overwhelming numbers. And then on the walls, these Christian guards have now been trapped between a unit of my Norman knights and the crossbowmen. And with tower support coming in, it's going to be a hard grinding fight, but it is going to go towards the favour of my dismounted Norman knights. Even with support from even more Christian guard, it's just a section of the wall you do not want to be stuck in. You need to get in, get down these steps and really outflank, and unfortunately the SwedishlandsKnekt couldn't do that due to those Genoese crossbowmen and Pavese crossbowmen on the walls. Sorry, I'm losing my voice a bit. I've been talking for a while. Please do excuse me. So we managed to push these Scots. I'll push the Moors back out of the walls, and the Scottish cavalry and the Moorish cavalry coming in, doing strikes to try and defeat our troops outside the walls. I think this unit is my general's unit. I think I had him at the front. Yeah, there he is. So yeah, my general's unit is getting stuck into these Venetian troops, Venetian heavy infantry, and these urban militia. And I think in a second I pull him out actually, and he starts heading into this gap to defeat these Christian guards and these mounted knights. So my general, being the brave man he is, charging out to meet these troops and hopefully break them. I certainly managed to swamp this Scottish cavalry, and the Christian guard are strong, but they've been weakened and they're slightly tired, and now they're being flanked by more Milanese troops. This is going to be a quick end to the Christian guard on this flank. We're still contesting this one gap. This gap's really holding quite well. Unfortunately, the Scottish do break through here though, and we've now got Scottish heavy cavalry, the general's bodyguard, and Scottish knights really pushing in. We've got just a small token defense force from Milan going to stop them, and I think my general, which is this unit, is pulling back to the town centre to try and sort of support any gaps that need it. Certainly I don't want him to die at this point. He's way too valuable. But we've got 29 units of Norman knights here trying to defeat these urban militia, and we've got some still a spattering of Milanese troops out here trying to stop these dismounted Christian guard. The wall fight is still going on, still intensely fought. These Genoese crossbowmen are wavering. They are losing numbers, but the dismounted Norman knights are still fighting on. And these Christian guard are still in the tough spot of having archer fire come in and pick them apart. So they are going to be in a dire circumstance there. It looks like we've broken through this side though, so we are going to be able to outflank the Scottish, and their morale is starting to waver. As strong as they are not supermen. They can't take this kind of pressure from Milan, and it's starting to show in their forces. So we've only got some Christian Guard here defending against some more Milanese forces, and then the Christian Guard on the wall, who are starting to waver and break. So all that's left is a handful of token infantry from the attackers and these generals' bodyguards, which are being pains in the ass and running around trying to get away from our infantry forces. My Norman Knights are catching them, but they're only taking down 2 or 3 of them before the general's bodyguard escapes. And the general's bodyguards are still quite potent weapons on the battlefield. If they get a decent charge, they will take out quite a lot of troops. So the Moorish one getting quite a nice charge there, has managed to flatten about 10 or 15 men in just one charge. And no matter how many times I try and sandwich the generals, they just will not stay still. It was a funny sort of cat and mouse game with them. very well played there by the attackers, by Lord Tsunami and the SwedishlandsKnekt, using their cavalry to great effect. And there's an immediate defeat there by, I think, Lord Tsunami. And I think the SwedishlandsKnekt will follow suit shortly once his general gets trapped, which I think we've finally managed to trap the general, and we're going to be able to surround him and capture him and his bodyguard. Look, even my general's taking part. He's like, yeah, I'm after you. I want a piece of you. Come on.
The enemy general has no honor.
Yeah, you better run. So we managed to catch the Moorish general, and there's an admit defeat there by the SwedishlandsKnekt. His forces are breaking, and all that's left is to clean up the Venetians. Unfortunately, paladinbob had to go somewhere, so he basically charged all his units into the gaps and had to leave them fighting whilst he went off to do his thing. And unfortunately, he's forgotten about this one unit over here that is just chilling back here, just enjoying the nice sunset over here, just minding its own business, forgetting completely that they have a fortress to take. So unfortunately, I'll have to make a cut here and get to the results, because it's just a case of chasing them down. But this is pretty much all me and Nazebaze have left. That, and there's a unit up on the walls there, and some crossbowmen. But really, this is all we have, and you can just see the amount of death that's been going about. As I said, this part of the fight was my favourite. Just the siege towers and the cannonballs coming in and the mortars, and fighting for the walls and then fighting for the street. It was just such an intense fight, and just just taking a screen. In fact, I'm going to take a screenshot of that, because that's just that alone is just an epic scene. And then there was some sort of skirmishes here. My cavalry got into the archers here, but was routed them. A fight over here that really didn't go my way too much. I lost quite a lot of troops trying to weaken and distract the enemy there, and then finally we've got the gaps where the looks like a lot of Scottish forces were killed there. A nice Scottish push here. You can see a lot of dead Milanese, but unfortunately they they broke after they met the pikemen here. Looks like we managed to push out of this side. This side we managed to push out of and push the urban militia back. Certainly a very bloody spot of the battle. And over here the Venetians pushing in, but we're caught by Milanese foot knights and really destroyed. And then these gaps here, one leading in and one spewing out these dead bodies. Very chaotic and very epic battle. And as I said, the dead on the walls, and as you can see, all the artillery hits. There's one here, and spattering of grouped units, and there's some here, and it was just such a chaotic battle. And there's artillery going off, and there was missile fire outside the walls, and there was it's just such a chaotic and very enjoyable battle.
Our men have taken control of the castle.
So as you can see, my forces are just rushing out to deal with that unit. So what I'll do now is, guys, is I'll skip it here. I'll jump to the end and I'll let you see the battle results. So I shall see you in a bit. Okay, so here's the results, guys. It was an average victory, so a very close battle actually, with me deploying 1,151 men, should I say, with 1,171 kills and 140 captures. Nazebaze bringing 100. Why do I keep saying that? 1,246 kills. Sorry guys, my brain's mush. I've been commentating for so long. Let me start again. Nazebaze deploying 1,246 men and killing 1,384 men and capturing 193. There we are, that's better. Lord Tsunami bringing 1,136 men and killing 529 men. Pretty good for considering that we obviously had the better troops. I think Tsunami did some really nice plays there with the flanking and overall the shoving his men in, because his men were more than capable of pushing through some of the gaps, and he really did push that gap really hard. So well played to him. And then paladinbob bringing 1,126 men and killing 632 men with 65 captures. Again, a pretty nice job from Bob, but I think he did make some mistakes by attacking the walls too early. I was able to hold him off for quite a while in that alleyway, the alleyway of death, and fighting him on the walls was a good idea as well. So yeah, I think there was some mistakes, and I managed to weaken him first, which was obviously good. But I was so focused on him that I forgot about the SwedishlandsKnekt, which who brought 1,076 men and killed 798 men with 70 captures. So certainly the better play on the better results on the enemy's side. But yeah, definitely well fought by him. As I say, all those urban militia was just a scary thought. I mean, Christian Guard I can deal with because there's a handful of them. If you bring 4 of them, that's okay. But 8 units of urban militia on top of that is just the urban militia are just such a grand support unit, because they are so cheap and you can just upgrade them and then shove them into the enemy's face. And if you have 8 of them, I had 8 units of Norman Knights, and then if you had I had 6 units of Norman Knights. I had 10 units in total, 10 units of infantry in total. He had 8 units of urban militia and 4 units of Christian Guard. That's 12 units in total. That's unbelievable, and he could have shoved them wherever he wanted. He had complete control of the amount of infantry. Unfortunately, the urban militia were not very good, and cost him quite a lot of money to purchase as well. So my dismounted Norman Knights not doing too well actually. I got one that did 102, and these guys were doing okay. I think these guys may have been outside of the walls, or one of these guys and one of these guys. But yeah, I mean, these guys may not have been fighting that much. They may have been inside the settlement, just chilling out a little bit. The sword and buckler men, I put them in some really bad situations. There's one here that got 51 kills, which is good, but the others I really did put in a really terrible position, so that was bad on my part. My archers obviously doing quite well. In a siege, archers generally do better than crossbowmen, but even then, I got a crossbowman that got 84 kills. I think that was that guy that was kind of on the outside walls, really pelting the infantry as they approached the walls. So that was good. And then the rest of my units were sort of support units. Cavalry doing okay, 75 kills on Norman Knight, not too bad. But yeah, the rest sort of pikemen and mortar were just there to support and lend supporting fire. So yeah, they did well in that respect. So that was the battle, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I certainly enjoyed playing it, and the other players really enjoyed playing it as well. So hopefully I can bring you more epic sieges in the future. But for now, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you all in the next video.